Another week has arrived. Round 10, Thursday night, $15,000 prize pool between the Seagulls and the Broncos here on Draft Stars. And we're going to start off with our outside backs as per normal. And Tommy Trbojevic comes in at 20,000, which is a lot less than we've seen him last year and right at the start of the season. So we get a little bit of a discount on that. But yeah, it makes sense when he hasn't had any score over 55. So if you think at a minimum he can hit that 50 plus, then the 20,000 would be okay. But the upside for Tommy is just crazy. So the 20,000 there, I think it's an okay price if you're probably going to be hard to fit him in DCE and like a Payne Haas or something like that. So you're going to have to pick and choose which probably two that you select out of those guys, because there's not a lot in the rest of the positions in terms of real cheap guys that I think you're going to score well. So it's going to be very interesting to make that decision. Obviously, Tony Staggs is someone that you could select, but had the two really good scores and is priced accordingly now up in the 17,000 mark. So if you think that he could come out and dominate Talatau Koula on that on their left edge there, then you could definitely pick him up. But there's definitely other options who I think are scoring well enough to be a decent option. That's someone like Ruben Garrick. Like if you can get somewhere around that 37, 38 from him at a minimum, I think you're doing okay with some upside as well. So if Manly come out and win well, then he'll be able to do well. But I'm expecting a fairly close game. So guys like Herbie Farnworth could be a solid option as well, coming off that low score there with that 18. So Benny Trbojevic, if we're going for cheaper now, him and Tuipulotu are great options on that on the Manly edge there. Obviously, Benny played in the second row last week and had a couple of tries and a try assist, so be aware that that's probably not going to happen again. But he should be able to bust out a solid 30 or so in general base stats, given that he's a centre / second rower, likes to get in and make his tackles and work hard there. And Tuipulotu just slightly cheaper than him, and he's been really solid the last 3 weeks. A 32 as a minimum, and a nice 52 when he got a nice strong try there. They're the two guys in that section that you could look at. But Selwyn Cobbo, obviously last week had an absolutely spectacular game, and he's definitely someone you could make a case for again. But when you haven't seen a score above 38, obviously that's 3 weeks ago now, and he's got two decent scores since in that time frame. He can definitely be a potential option for you. And then, I was really only from there, it's like Corey Oates that you could potentially select. But again, only had the two real good scores in the whole season. So that's the outside backs there. If looking at the halves, there's obviously you got your premium guys, you got the DCE and Reynolds, who I speak about it each and every week. Either one of them is going to be a great option. Whichever team you think is going to be better in terms of winning this match, then they're probably the guy you select. Obviously, an 83 and an 81 for Reynolds after being super consistent. And DC dominated last week as well with a 74 and has dominated the majority of the week. So just play this one as is. If you can get the extra $3,000, I'd go DC. If you can't and you want to use that $3,000 on Tommy or something like that, then go for Reynolds. Croker's obviously been really solid as well with a nice 58 last week and a 56 2 weeks ago. So he could definitely be a play there at 15K. Anyone else really, the only potential ones I'd say would be Foreign at 11,800 if you want to maybe use him in the flex, and you might be able to sneak one of those good scores that he's got 2 of the last 4 weeks. So that's the halves and the hooker position. If we're going in the forwards, then the top 3 are your clear best options, obviously. But I'm personally going to be all in on Paddy Carrigan. I reckon at 17,500, you can use that extra cash a little bit elsewhere, whether it's on DCE, whether it's Trbojevic there, or going for trying to go Tommy and Katoni or play something like that in the outside backs. But Carrigan has come back with a bang. Has scored it really, really well with Payne Haas there anyway. Had the 47.6 as his low. So if that's his floor there, then I think anywhere around that, the 56, you got the 70 there, and the 64. And he was at point a minute 30 there in that game that he got injured. So obviously had a great welcome back game. I expect similar minutes for him this week, around that 60, 65. And he should be able to get close to a point a minute for you there. Obviously, Olakwatu has been dominant. The tries have been there. So he's that more boom or bust player, I'd say. Has that 40 in him, whereas I don't think Paddy Carrigan does. And then Payne Haas is going to be super consistent. But I'd probably look to avoid him just slightly this week. I'd expect maybe a 60 points from him at 22,550. Obviously, is a great score, but it's still, when he's coming back, he's carrying a bit of an injury. There's a chance he get injured in game again because it's more of a pain tolerance thing. And obviously, that hit that he got 2 weeks ago now was a little bit too much for him. So, yeah, we'll see how many minutes he's played. I'm assuming he'll go big again. But yeah, just be aware of that injury that is there. If we're going cheaper, I think the guys like obviously Bullimore had a solid game last week. I'm not going to expect it every week, but just wanted to mention him as a potential option for you. And then I think Corey Jensen's a guy you can plug and play at 10,700. He's going to get somewhere in the 30s for you I'd say there. Anyone else here I'm not really too interested in? We get Rabadi on the reserves this week, unfortunately. And it says Kurt DeLewis here is starting, but he's not starting. Check the team list again. He's definitely not. Kevy's just been a little bit too up and down to have good scores, and Sipley, same thing. So, yeah, good luck trying to fit in all the big guys in this game. It's going to be difficult, but I think you're going to have to use a couple of cheapies, whether it's one in the outside backs, in one of those Broncos outside backs, or definitely at least one cheapie in the forwards with Corey Jensen, for example. They're my picks, guys. I hope you have all the luck for this first game and have a great weekend. See you, team.